Going ahead, officially welcoming you to my platform that I have created with a very interesting thought is that when I saw this industry right in 2009, when I was myself an aspirant, from here to 2025, and being an associate professor in geography myself, looking into research as well, academia as well, and parallelly training and mentoring for so many years for civil services examination that I have been doing. What I found that I was not too comfortable when I used to go to different coaching institutes and teach a batch of 300 people sitting there and teaching on a mic, and I'm not able to interact and know your personal problems, how where you're getting stuck. So I thought that when I will do it, I'll do it on a very small level where at least 10-15 students I'll take and I'll mentor them in a very thorough manner so that I can know your things and I can help you personally. So that's why I call it a personal mentoring course, as you see it. And that was the motive behind doing it, that even from my office time and in the evenings, if I can devote 1 hour 2 hour to people, if that makes more sense to people, that would be better, rather than going to some institution. So that's where I am right now, and with so much of experience of even mentoring for so many years, so many people, so many qualified aspirants, so many disqualified aspirants, so many strugglers in this field, I have learned things in a very different ways, where I first tell you what not to do. I don't tell you what to do. Okay, so I'll tell you where the red flag is better than where I'll tell you that what you need to do, because every aspirant has its own journey. And when you become a civil services aspirant and when you qualify, when you speak, you'll be an inspiration for someone, as your inspiration might be someone like, say, my student Sonnet is there, or someone else is there, Dipti Rohila is there, or anyone is there. Anyone can become an inspiration for you by their talks, by their journey that you are. So that I leave up to my students to look into, that what is your way of preparation. You will decide and you will go through that. There is no template for civil services examination. But while there is no template, there is certain important things that needs to be considered. So in this orientation program, before I actually start the answer writing course, where I give you questions, you write, when we discuss online, we correct it and we rediscuss, and then again I give you the next lot of questions. Before we actually go there, for me, it's very important to get into one important thing, that how much writing in your life are you doing? That's the first basic skill. Okay. The amount of number of pages you're writing per day is the first thing that I want to look into. Very important, because we are used to technology, See, I don't write too many pages now. I used to write 90 pages when I was in graduation in 2006, because we had these long answers in University of Delhi. And I was a science student. And even, in 11th and 12th, you have PCB, you're not supposed to write 5 pages of an answer. It's just LHS is equal to RHS types answers and conclusion in 2 lines. So I learned from there that if you want to prepare for civil services examination, you have to write properly. And writing is a skill. So in this course, we are focusing on your writing skills. I'm not focusing more on the depth of knowledge or the width of knowledge that you might have. Okay, you can grow it, you can learn more on a certain topic, but the skill that writing itself is, it's a beautiful thing to actually write a great answer and impress the reader. That is an art, that is a skill. If you have that skill, you will score amazingly well. Okay, even if you know less in a question, that's the bigger challenge, that you know only 2 points, but you have to score. So can you elaborate that 2 points in such a way that examiner is impressed? That's called skill. So civil servants need to understand this first, that this is a skill. This doesn't need a coaching typical. Okay, this you have to inculcate with practices, with certain things. So in this course, I'll be helping you out understanding yourself better, not in comparison to someone else. Okay, by the time this course ends, you will be better than whom? Your own self that you are today.
Yeah.
You understood what I meant? The level that you are
Yes.
today in, you will be rising on your own level every day, with every test, with every discussions in this course. That's the whole principle of making this course. So, formal introduction I would give you before I actually take you to the slides and what we are going to do in the coming weeks and how we are going to look into. So, my journey with geography is coming from, as usual, as you all said, school days. So I had a great teacher who studied geography for civil services examination, incidentally, and he was from JNU. but he could not clear civil services examination, and he came back to the city called Darbhanga, where I did my education, initial years of schooling from Bihar. So I belong to a state called Bihar, north of India, and there is a district called Madhubani where I am coming from. So I come from Madhubani, which is GI tagged, famous, paintings and all those art. So I'm sure you have studied it in your art and architecture, art and culture paper as well. So I belong to Madhubani, but since 2006, I have been staying in Delhi NCR. So I'm like now 19, 20 years old in this Delhi NCR. So amount of time I spent back in Bihar, I've spent more time here in Delhi NCR, including my own education, from my graduation to my post graduation to PhD. I am all throughout a University of Delhi person. I completed my PhD in 2015 and I got awarded in 16. So I have been a good learner of geography since 2006 in a say formal manner, but since my school days the quest for learning, mapping, geography quizzes and these things started. And I was coming from a background where my father was a civil servant in Bihar, so I had that in my family. My uncles are civil servants, my father was a civil servant, he retired in 2017. So coming from a background, I had this knack of, actually I'll also be, every Bihari second person says that, I'll do civil services. I'm sure this stereotype, so I also come from the same Bihar where every second child wants that, I'll become an IS officer. So I was born in a family of civil servants, and that's how I also started the journey. Learning geography was very important to me because it was a prime subject. My father was from political science and world history, so I learned world history from my father. And I thought that at those times there were, like, say, two optionals used to be there. So on one side I was learning world history, and the other side I was learning geography. So that's how I started. But then some things happened, things changed, and in 2009 I decided that I will not go towards civil services myself. I would be rather going to travel. I would do documentary shoot. I'll become a geographer. I'll travel the world. I'll learn everything. So since then I have been, learning more rather than doing that civil services preparation more. So that's the journey that started with Delhi University, and then into geography I immersed myself. But then because I was in Delhi University and Mukherjee Nagar was very close, Karol Bagh was very close, and my friends were preparing for civil services, and when I got into, say, further in the circle, I also went to some coaching institutes in the beginning to actually check mock test papers. That's where my journey started with, mentoring for civil services. So I used to go and check mock test papers. I used to discuss with those aspirants in 2012, 13. Then in 14, things changed, and then when CSAT happened and things, I saw the transition. So I have been looking at civil services, mentoring, preparation, and all those things since like almost 12 years now, roughly, in a very formal way, if I say so. So I felt that there is a critical need to actually focus on not just the, say, syllabus learning, but how do you write the syllabus? How do you interpret things? How do you make it in the papers? Okay. So this is where this course I'm trying to design. I have tried my best to design this course in a way where you learn the background of where the question is coming from, what the question demands, and how it needs to be addressed in very simple language. Okay. So because I have the habit of, trying to decode things, read between the lines, read beyond the lines, be in particular time limit, be in particular word limit, I teach these things. I have experience of numerous coaching institutes in Karol Bagh and Mukherjee Nagar when my friends used to call me for some classes. I've taken so many classes out there in many coachings, in many institutes. So those experiences only help me out that what needs to be done when I'm doing this personal mentoring course, and what needs to be very carefully done rather than doing it in a large number of people. So I have restricted the number of students in the course only for that purpose, that I would know you better. I will know your strengths and weaknesses better. That's what I said. So in this particular course, we'll be going weekly. That's the first thing. So for example, we'll start with physical geography, geomorphology syllabus. So from tomorrow onwards, you revise your geomorphology syllabus. And when you deem fit, when you feel that now you can attempt the test, I'll give you the test tomorrow itself. And you can attempt in the next 3, 4 days, 5 days. By Friday, I would ask you to send me your answers in the form of a PDF. I'll evaluate. And on Saturdays and Sundays, we'll have discussion sessions. We'll talk about in the group that when is the best time. Usually we do it in the evenings so that everybody is free from the day's work. Okay. So if somebody is free, accordingly you can join, and you'll get all the recordings of what we discuss also, so that you have a backup if you want to listen to what I said for these answers, how I evaluated. So I'll be giving you comments on your answers on your PDFs itself. Okay, that will be there with you. You will all be reading each other's answers. You're looking into some points from each other's also, some weaknesses and strengths of each other's also, and my comments are going to be very important. So sectional tests is what we are going to do in the 2 months. It means geomorphology, climatology, biogeography, all sections of this particular will be covered. For paper 2, I'll divide it into 3 portions. Right, so I'll club first 2 things like physical geography of India, I'll club into one, socio-economic geography of India, I'll club into one. I'll tell you about what units will be the question coming from. Pre-hand, I'll tell you. So you revise, you take your time, and then actually attempt. Attempting the question is the last thing in this course. It's not the first thing that sir gave a question, now let me start writing. No, you don't have to write straight away. I'll give you the test. You resonate the ideas of what question is like, think about it, read the question 5 times in your home. But when you attempt in the given time and word limit, like you would do it in the examination hall. That's the only need for this course. Now I'll be taking you to the slides where I have prepared few points which I would like to discuss in today's orientation program. So you all can keep listening till the end, and in the end I'll tell you what needs to be done from tomorrow onwards. So as you know, this is the basic introduction to answer writing, which our course is for Geography Optional 1 and 2. And this will help you for the next coming examination. Now, whenever I talk about geography answer writing, I try to decode it. I try to look into the nuances and things in a very geographical way first. So what is the geographical way of looking at the whole syllabus and how to actually strengthen your answer on what particular thought? Okay, so thought behind all geography is this triad, this trio, and I call it SST. So what is this SST? First thing in your answers should be this space component. When you are doing a geography answer, so your spatial component in the answer must be very clear. Space component in the answer, what do you mean in simple way? So location could be one, area could be one, region could be one, okay, country, state, anything which talks about a space, okay, in terms of first space, into not terms of just human space. You can also talk about urban, you can talk about rural, you can talk about developed, you can talk about underdeveloped. So this is the spatial component that I'm talking about, that this component is the prime component in all geographical answers. Every answer must pertain to something or the other. Okay, even if it is economic geography, it should not be just economics. Geography has to be in the center. Places, location, area, region, development, area in terms of country, comparison, rural, urban, these kind of things must be there in your answer as a prime component. Second important component is scale component. Now, when I say scale, the first thing that comes into your mind is measurement. But in geography, it's not just measurement, but scale is also talking about the macro, meso, micro, right? So when I'm saying global, I'm saying regional, I'm saying local, I'm changing scales at every time, isn't it? So scale component is very important component in geography. For example, suppose you get a question on global warming, and nowhere it is said that you give examples from any particular area in India. So when the question tells you global warming, the scale of the question is global. It means all your example should be at global level. It shouldn't be from just one particular state in India. That is what it means. So remember the scale of the question and address the scale of the question. If it is asking a micro scale question, deal with the micro scale example. If it is talking about meso or regional level or local level, remember your answer cannot vary on scales. Always remember, reading your question, you will know that this question is at what scale. Is it talking about regional? Is it talking about local? Is it talking about global? Right? This is very much important. And I also call it the amount of details. So I say zoom in and zoom out. Right? So when you zoom into a picture, what do? You actually reduce the area, but details are more. Right? And when you zoom out, you watch the whole picture, but details are less. So that is what we do scaling in geography, that how much detail is needed in your answer. That question comes from the scale factor. So Scale factor will tell you that what exactly is needed, the examples or case studies from what level you have to give. Is it all India level? Is it state level? Is it local level? Is it regional level? That answer you can only frame if you know what is the scale of the question. Then comes the time. So every question will have a time component, a temporal component. Now, when I say temporal component is very important in this way. Why? Because things in geography also belongs to geological time and some things belong to human time. So we have both time scales in geography functioning, right? And also, if you want to talk about some change, some variation, you have to talk about a temporal scale, a temporal timeline of option. So time, when I say history, really becomes important in geography, but not just human history, but Earth's history, geological history of the Earth, right? So first I told you about space, scale, and time. So the first question is, you read any previous year question. I'm just giving you an exercise. What will you do? You will read any PYQ from any year and try to break into SST. Break the question into what space it is talking about, at what scale the question has been asked, and is there any reference of a time? Is it recent question? Is it about after 1945? Is it talking about post liberalization? Is it talking about geological history? Or is it talking about ancient? What is the time of the question? Where the time component is there in the question? If you can break every question on these three parameters, you have decoded what the question wants. Okay? And it is not the only method. It is my method. I'm just trying to give it to you, right? You can have another method of decoding a question, but I'm just telling you that if you do this SST in your decoding of your questions, your answers will become geographical. Your answers will be separated from GS. Your papers will not look like I'm writing economics, I'm writing history, I'm writing sociology. Your answers will look like you're writing geography. And that's where the difference lies. You can write historical answers also. You can write economic answers also. People deviate if some question is related to Indian economy in terms of geography. People start writing economics. They forget that I'm writing geographical answer. So what is important? Every time you have to remind yourself, don't deviate, because you have a habit of deviating. Why? Because you're doing GS. You're reading so many things. So habituated to write other things, what happens, a problem with aspirants, they tend to deviate from geography. They tend to deviate means sometimes in your answer, economics become more important. Sometimes in your answer, history becomes more important. Every time do you have to pull yourself back and bring geography in the center. Geography in the center. For geography optional, a person who will be evaluating your answer will be a geographer, someone like me maybe, or maybe many senior than me, some 50, 60 years of professor who is going to evaluate in the panel. That person is going to read your one paragraph and tell you, have you written it geographically or have you written it generally? So for GS, though, you get scores. For geography optional, you won't get score if the answer doesn't sound geographical. It doesn't mean geographical. So what is the method I just told you? Break the question on SST. If you know these three components of the answer, and then you write the answer, it automatically will be sounding geographical. It automatically will resonate around geography, right? Geography becomes center in geography optional. Remember that. Okay. So every time you have to locate it, you have to talk about places, you have to talk about people and places relationships, right? Including the theories that you support, including the examples that you would give. Okay. If these things are there in your answer will start looking more geographical. Otherwise, it may deviate. Some sociology person will tell you, this to we study in sociology. Why are you writing in geography? Because its component is human geography. So social geography will come, society component will come, some theory from sociologist will come. But you have to try and make it geographical primarily, spatial primarily. If your answer lacks the first component, spatiality, spatial analysis, it's not geographical. So first thing that we will be learning in this answer writing course is to make our answers more geographical than more other subjects. Okay, it will be interdisciplinary, but it should be primarily geographical in its look, in terms of its sound, in terms of its addressing the question. After this, let's go to the other things that we need to look into. So I have made certain points. I'll share this PDF with you. Okay, you can take a reading. That first, some tips are there, basic tips. Reading and analyzing the question. Carefully read the question and understand. As we'll go ahead, we'll keep learning. How did you read the question? What did you understand? Then while you are reading, you have to plan your answer. You don't get a separate time, right? Because in 180 minutes, you have to write 19 questions, right? So you don't get enough time to take time and then plan your answer. While you are reading it carefully, while you are comprehending the question, your plan of the answer can be made quickly. Then you plan your introduction as per the question, right? Question talks about what you will introduce in the question. For example, let me tell you, if the question is asking, okay, that why northern plains in India have more population density and what are the problems related to it, you cannot start the answer with a fact or a data or a particular quotation. These things are poor ways of writing. I'm just telling you with an example. Okay, so first thing is you have to start with northern plains, its situation, comes geography, and its population, situation or scenario. That's where you introduce. Means introduction will belong to what? It will belong to the keyword in the question. Okay. Many people have the habit of straight away writing a fact. According to, UN report, this is not the way to start an answer. I'll come to your answer when we check it in the sessions to come, but I'm just telling you where we go wrong. Okay. So the first thing is introduction. The first impression is your introduction of the answer. Okay. So introduction will come from where? From the question itself. What question is asking, you introduce that in the first line itself. Okay. And then you attach some scholar, some theory, some component, some data that comes later on to support your arguments. But your intro cannot be based on some fact. First line is a fact. No. You understand? So first line will always be the line coming from the question. So examiner feels that you are not telling the examiner that how much you know. A bad habit of UPSC aspirants, because you learn so much. You have the habit of writing everything. No, I know this much, I'll have to write this. No, don't do that. It's not going to be a collection of facts. It's not going to be a collection of your knowledge. Answer is not that. Answer is how well you address the question. So question has to be addressed right from the beginning to the end. Do not leave the question anywhere. Otherwise, you will start beating around the bush. The typical way we say, no, that you have not answered the question, but you have written rest everything. So that needs to be done right from the learning of the question. So I have said introduction as per the question, structuring your answer and giving relevant examples and facts, very important. Concise and to the point is obviously very much important, because if you're not concise, not to the point, you will excess the word limits. That will be a problem. A balanced perspective, and sometimes the critical analysis, critical thinking is very much important. Like for example, causes, consequences, implications, applications, these kind of words, very important. Drawing connections to what you have learned in various aspects. One thing can be linked to so many things. For example, geomorphology can be linked to biogeography, can be linked to economic geography, can be linked to disasters. This is what linkages means. So if the question is asking you a certain thing on disaster management, you can give perspectives and linkages from physical and human, both geographies. That will tell the command on your subject matter that you have. And then a good conclusive line, depending upon what the question asked. Conclusion cannot be that you are concluding something new. So one thing that I'll tell you, new things not needed. Remember my word. What did I say? Never conclude an answer with a new point at the end. In the whole answer, you never talked about SDG, but in conclusion, you are writing, it also caters to, it looks towards the fulfillment of SDG. It's a red flag. In the whole answer, SDG was not there. Why are you writing in the last paragraph? That also shortcut. What is SDG? So no shortcut. Sustainable Development Goal, in bracket SDG. That's called writing skill. It has nothing to do with your knowledge. I'm sure you know what is SDG. But the point is, if you're ending your answer with certain new thing, which you have never talked in the whole answer you wrote, you should never end your answer with on a new point. You should conclude it in the way it feels examiner after reading that the person has addressed the question. So addressing the question is your target, not showing that how much you know. Or I can talk about this also. In the end, we have some space. Let me write a new 2 points. That method is very bad method because you left some space. Now you remember some point. Let me fill it up. That's not a good way. So that practice needs to be done because you may be haywire in your thoughts. You have to structure your thoughts. You have to align your thoughts. When you read a question, what comes to your head? How are you going to write it? These things is for training, and that's why this course, okay, that when you think, I know what you have thought because your pen moves like that. Okay, so while I read your answer, I know what you were thinking while writing it. So I'll try and curb it, I'll try and correct it. Where you will attempt a question, I'll tell you where you have gone wrong, where you have taken a different direction. Your first paragraph took a right direction, second paragraph is haywire. It's not making any coherence, right? So that's what we need to fix generally. If you're good at it, be better at it. Every day you have to better yourself. Okay, so that's the point we're trying to make with all this and revision and editing. So the next discussion is what, why, how. So first thing is what you have to do. You have to read the syllabus thoroughly, and I'm not asking to learn the whole syllabus, but I'm telling you, if I ask you, this question belongs to which part of your syllabus? You should have answer in 30 seconds. You have to have your syllabus on fingertips. In paper 1, in this portion, in this section, this topic is given, sir. This is what you should know. So what is the first thing? I've started making, typical teacher methods. First thing that I give you a homework today is write your syllabus on a piece of paper by your hand. At least how many times? Chalo, 3 times. I'll not tell you 5 times. How many times will you write the syllabus? Paper 1 and paper 2 syllabus, how many times? 3 times. Have to do it. You have come to me. Whatever I say, you have to do it. Okay. So what will you do? Write the whole syllabus of UPSC exam, and for Harshita, UPPCS exam, whatever you're giving. Syllabus you write on blank sheets of paper for 3 times. Even if you know, I know it, but still you write it. Okay. Tell yourself that after this, I'll never ask someone, this question came from which portion of the syllabus? I don't figure it out properly. So if you have your syllabus on your fingertips, half the goal is achieved because you know this question is from which part of the syllabus. And if you know the address, the post delivers better, no? If you don't know address, you'll keep asking padosis. Oh, this address, sir, can you tell me where do I go? This is what you do in your head. Don't do that. Okay. So what you do is know your syllabus on fingertips. That's the first thing. So I just said here on the slide, it's also given. So first thing is I recommended 3 times write your syllabus on blank sheet of paper. No questions asked. Then previous year questions I'll also give you in the group. I'll circulate. If you have it already, Google, everything is available. But refer to the questions from previous years when you are learning the syllabus, decode it. And geography is a subject of diagrams, numbers, right? Data, maps. So that is going to be your backbone for your answer. Any question, even if you know just 2 points, but you support it with a map, with a small diagram, with a flow diagram, your answer automatically starts looking better. Does that make sense to all of you what I said? Even if you have less number of points in terms of text, in terms of new points, you can supplement it with good mapping skill, good data skill in terms of representation, in terms of making a flow diagram or any graph or any particular thing which is visually representative. Geography is a subject of visual representation, I tell you. Examiner will be impressed. And I'm not telling you what ways you represent. Somebody can make a mind map. Somebody can draw a small flow diagram. When you're making a differentiating based question, you make a line in between and you write both sides of the line. If you're classifying something, you write the title on the head and you put 4 arrows and you give types, typology based questions. You understand? These kind of creative skills you have to develop. Okay, if it's already there, very good. Otherwise, while you write, think about how well can you represent the same. Somebody says, sir, in human geography, too many diagrams are not there. You give me a question where a diagram cannot be made in geography. You understand what I mean? If it is spatial, a map comes. Everything can be represented on a map in certain ways. It's just that your idea has to resonate correctly. So geography without maps, without diagrams, without data, without these references, what I said is incomplete. And also, it's the actually thing that helps you score better. Even if you know only 2 points in a question, you don't know 5 point, 7 point, 10 point. Still, with those 2 points, if you complement it with a map, you still score better. Right? So that's why I'm telling you these little things would matter while we learn, while we prepare, right? So map is required. Keep word limits. Time management, of course, is important. Now comes, as you said, someone says technical terms, right? Geographic vocabulary. So normal English, okay, and then there is geographical English. So what you will write in geography optional? Geographical English, right? We don't call normally a land, we call it topography, right? We call it precipitation, we call denudation, mass wasting, region, location, direction, spatial analysis, right? Shape, size, tone, texture, situation, association, right? We use geographical vocabulary to describe something. For example, plates are moving from this side to that side. Very good English, no? 0 marks. So when you are talking about plate tectonics, what will you do? You will specify direction of the plates, name of the plates, and also relative movement of the plate. Is it going from southeast to northwest? Where is it heading? Which is the adjoining plate? That's what is geographic vocabulary. So simple English is moving. Geographical English is drifting. That's what I mean. I hope I'm making sense to all of you, how the differentiation is. So if you have learned geography, you know geography has a certain vocabulary that we use. Try and make it better day by day. Stop writing general common English, moving this side, this English, up or down. No. Everywhere you'll have to talk about geographical way of writing. With the time we go into these weeks of coming weeks where we learn, I'll point out when you're writing, this could be done better with an English because it's writing and you're writing in English language. So I understand the base is English, but vocabulary has to be geographical. Makes sense to all of you? Start thinking on these lines, right? From today onwards. That's why this is orientation program, right? And then comes the integration. How will you integrate paper 1 concepts and paper 2 locations? Geography of India. So concepts and theories is paper 1 and then its application is paper 2. Remember, concept and its application. This is what I say is paper 1 and this is paper 2. Doesn't mean that paper 1 doesn't have application, right? But usually paper 2 is all application of what you have learned in paper 1, isn't it? Do you read plate tectonic theory in paper 2? You don't. You read it in first part. But when you talk about seismic zones in India with reference to plate tectonics, that's in paper 1. You understand? So everything in paper 2 has the father, mother in paper 1. You need to find that. Okay, where in paper 1 is the boss of this employee here in paper 2? So paper 2 is employee of the bosses, the concepts, the theories, the building blocks of geography. So be very good with paper 1 so that you can be amazing in paper 2. Paper 2 is not GS. People have the habit of writing paper 2 answer like a general studies. It will only have data, distribution, that's it. No. Try, if there is a question on industries in India, please bring Weber into the picture. You understand what I mean? Which you don't read in paper 2. Okay. If there is a question on towns in India, you have read internal classification of cities. You have read so much in urban. You know it. Bring human geography to the picture. Okay. If there is some question on coastal regulation zone in India, you have coastal geomorphology in paper 1 geomorphology. Bring the concepts there. So bring paper 1 in all the answers in paper 2. Did you understand what I meant? Your paper 2 shouldn't be devoid of paper 1. Usually this is a practice. People write in a very general way in paper 2. It's India, we know. We are Indians, it's our country. Who knows better? So I'll write whatever I know. I'm an Indian. Don't do that. Paper 1 has to be referred. Theories have to come from paper 1 to supplement the concepts. If there is food security question in paper 2 in India, you need to talk about how food security you have learned in economic geography in paper 1. You understand what it means. You have to have theories. You need to have these, theories of disparities, regional inequalities to express things in India. You understand? So paper 2 is all your playing field. Paper 2 can give you amazing scores if you are very good with your paper 1 and you know where to link it, where to bring scholars, where to bring theories for your support from paper 1. Okay, so integration science, remember geography looks into it. So that's very important, right? And sometimes you can use heading subheading method or you can simply write paragraph, but paragraph should be coherent, right? That's what I said already. Learning and referring to scholars, their models, their theories as much as possible for your explanation, citing a particular context. And of course, because you're reading current affairs, if there is a question related to certain yojanas that the government is running, if some question can be related to SDGs that we are talking about, do relate them from current affairs yourself, even if the question is not asking. Okay. And of course, you have to practice maps and places and all, right? So that will be important. So while you are attempting it finally, read properly. Introduction should be short. Don't leave any question. Highlight important keywords, terms, and underline. And also, I have a problem with too much underline. Akanksha would laugh now. So what people do, they write two paragraphs and every second line they have underlined. So what do you mean by that? 0 marks. Why? Underlining is to actually bring examiner's attention on that particular word. So underlining has to be in terms of question, which is the key word in your paragraph. Not all the words are keywords. Okay. I'm just telling you today's orientation. When you write answers, I'll tell you how we have done it. Okay. So too much underlining is actually devaluating your underlines. You're not actually valuing your underlines yourself. Underline should be really, really, really important in terms of the question asked. That see, you ask this question, no? In this paragraph, this is related to question. In this paragraph, this is related to the question. Every time do underline to point out to examiner that, sir, this is related to the question. Sir, this is related to the question. Underline means this. Okay, I'm trying to decode it for you why underline the keywords so that examiner remembers, oh, question was this. Oh, question was this. Because examiner may forget while reading an answer what was the question. Okay, so you always remind by underlines the examiner that, sir, I have written it as per the question. I'm not writing it by myself. I have always written it with the question. So underline is to underline your connectivity to the question. Okay, not random underlining is needed. So remember this very important thing while attempting. Okay, and obviously for questions where differentiation is there, you can use LHS RHS method. Try and avoid cutting the paper. And then last thing that I would like to tell you in orientation is this. In all the examinations in geography optional, as much I have seen, these are certain most commonly used keywords in the questions. Some question will start from discuss or end with discuss. Some question will start with a statement and after full stop they will say elaborate. Some will be analyze, some will be compare, some will be critically analyze, and some will be comment. There are various kinds of questions that you will figure out in previous year's questions. So when question is asking you discuss, what will you do? You will break it into components. Okay, components of the questions, various parts, and you will discuss all the parts as much as possible in those 9 minutes. When question tells you elaborate, it means it is asking you to go in a little depth with concepts, with theories, with applications in real world. When question is asking you analyze, it means it's asking you to break it and later sum it up. So first you are breaking it into parts, describing each, and then you are trying to make a summary out of these. This is called analysis, right? Then there is something called compare. To compare, you cannot compare apple with oranges, right? So first thing is to look into what is the baseline for comparison. Always remember, to compare something, your baseline has to be first drawn. I cannot compare Delhi with Kolkata. Can I compare? But then if I say that Delhi and Kolkata both were British colonies, British established, now here is the baseline. I hope it makes sense. In comparative question, first is to introduce the baseline to examiner. Sir, I am not randomly comparing eastern coast with western coast in India. I'm not comparing Gujarat with Arunachal in India. On this ground, they can be compared. First say this and then compare. Okay, random comparison answers are not good. Draw a baseline for comparison and then compare. Okay, say for example, tundra vegetation is also found in Himalayan region and also found in Siberia. Okay, so how do you compare? You understand what I mean? So you would say that altitudinally, climatic zone wise, it lies in the same kind of situation, same kind of condition is there, which is there in Arctic tundra. So on those grounds, vegetation could be compared. What is the impact of climate change there? Could be similar on Himalayan region. owing to the altitude, but it could be differences on the places where they're located in terms of latitude. So altitude and latitude will be your keywords when you compare. Himalaya is called third pole. You have Arctic and Antarctic. You can compare. But first draw the baseline. All of you there on the page, making sense? For comparison questions, be careful on doing this. Then you have something called critical analyze. And remember, analysis is the same thing. Here the word is important, critically. When you're critically analyzing, you are not criticizing. Critical analysis doesn't mean to criticize. It means doing SWOT analysis or SWOC analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, challenges. This is what you do when you do critical analysis of a topic, right? So we'll talk about SWOT analysis and SWOC analysis if you don't know. But anyway, comment question. Now this is tricky one. So when a question says comment, be careful. They are reading your mind, okay? Because they are telling you to comment. They're not asking you that how agricultural one theory is applied in Bihar in India today. They don't want that. What do they want? What is your take on food security? Looking at the UP Bihar population and the damaging underground water level. How do you think the sustainable food security can be attained in northern plains where densely population is there in India? Now they're telling you comment on this. It means you need to have your principally very clear ideas about things, your viewpoints they want. So when it's your viewpoint, that's where your own intellect comes into the picture. So don't take sides. Try maintaining rationality. Okay? That's what is needed when you are commenting. Your comment means who you are. Comment doesn't mean how much geography you know. Okay? So it is reflection of your persona when comment kind of question is there. Does that make sense? I try to tell you in a brief that anyway we are going to learn. This is just orientation. So don't think that today, this everything will be done in one day. But I'm just telling you these things will be done for the next 2 months. We'll be going to learn these things. Okay. While we practice these things, you'll be learning these skills, right? Decoding it properly. Okay. So this is how paper one, I'm sure you'll look into the, so you have 250 marks and 3 hours. So you can see the questions like this. And some, Sri Krishna scored 190 rank last results. His answer, I'm just showing you as a sample answer, how a good answer should look like. But this is not perfect answer. Okay. But general things in this answer is that your text and your diagram should align together. Diagram here and text here doesn't work. So text and diagram, unless you're making a world map point to point, it's fine. But if you're making a contextual map, these kind of maps are good. These kind of flow diagrams are considered good. All right. So these kind of things you have to work. If you're giving the data, you have to give a source. Which year? Which place? Okay. Making sense what I'm saying? If you are using any data, either write in the beginning according to XYZ report, year, or if you are simply saying this percentage, that percentage, mention where did you take the data from. No, any data in your answer should be without a source. Okay. Remember to source your data when you're writing an answer. You are using 2.4% of this is this. Now, how do you know 2.4%? Unless you write as per XYZ report in this year. In the bracket, you write report name and year. That's also fine. But some reference has to be given if you are using any data in your answers. Remember my words, without this particular reference, any data will be waste. And the last thing that I tell you is the best practices which you should look into. If you can inculcate in your life, it will be easy for you. First is, while I discuss, as you have been taking notes during lectures, when I discuss things, do write class notes. You will get the recording of the video in the course anyway. Then if you are reading newspapers or magazines and you have fingertips syllabus, you can break down the magazine and topic into your syllabus, that today I read this in news. This belongs to geomorphology. This belongs to climatology. This belongs to urban geography. This belongs to economic geography. This you can only do when you have written your syllabus 3 times on the paper today. So that when you read newspaper, you don't read newspaper, you filter it by your syllabus. When you read magazine, you filter it through your syllabus. Your syllabus is going to be your lens. of looking at everything from tonight. Okay? Now, tomorrow when you're going on the road, start wearing the glasses of UPSC. Everything is UPSC. Remember that. And everything can be only UPSC only when you know your syllabus to the fingertips. That this no is related to a case study from this topic in my syllabus. I'll use it. This will only happen to you if you know your syllabus on fingertips. I have seen people going for mains exam and they if asked some syllabus, which question is from this part of the syllabus, which question was asked? No clue. It means you were not thorough with your syllabus. I'm not saying you learn everything in the world under sun. That's a wrong approach for UPSC. The approach for UPSC is if you learn 70%, that 70% should mean 70%. That 60% of your syllabus that you covered before your exam should be 60% actually. It shouldn't be half cooked. That will only happen from your syllabus. So reading current affairs, you're anyway doing. GS, you're any day reading. So why do you separate it that for geography, I'll do it separately? You don't have to do anything separately for geography. Places, you're anyway studying everyday newspapers and magazines and current affairs. Why will you do separate practice for places for mapping question? If you're reading 365, the whole year, you have places in your head, same places you map, simple. You're doing it in GS, you're doing it in current affairs. Why do it separately for geography? Let me do 500 places this year so that if question comes, at least 10 though definitely coming from this list. That method is useless method. You read 10 places every day anyway, any which way. Either in social media you read it or in a newspaper you read it or anywhere you read it. You go through places only every day. You see, you cannot skip geography. Every day you are looking at places and people. So then why not those places in news you have studied to be mapped? So paper 2 mapping question in India, it's all current affairs. It's all news. You don't have a separate list that sir will give us 500 places list. We'll practice that on paper. Useless approach. Okay. Every day practice five places, 10 places. Know about 2 places. That's it. Casual approach, but everyday approach. Okay. So that's what I said. If you are good with your syllabus, you will be doing this very interestingly. Now, the last some points are very important for me. One is called blank page practice, one is called 5.7 point approach, and one is called 30-second map practice. Now, these are some things that you have to develop. Diagram practice, and obviously you have to do. And at the end, you have to do this chits method. One by one, I'll just decode it for you. What is blank page practice that I recommend? When you are done for the day, now going to bed, it's like a doctor's recommendation. Akanksha will laugh. Every day I tell her, have you done your blank page practice or not? So what is it? It's taking a blank sheet and closing your eyes like you do in meditation. Sit for 5 minutes. Remember what you did from morning to evening. What things did you learn today? Try to recollect, write one line each on the paper. First day you will not be able to fill half the paper. But after 5-7 days, you will need more papers because you will recollect so much from the day. Does that make sense what I'm trying to tell you here? Fill as many blank pages you can by recollecting what you learned today. While traveling, while sitting, while sipping coffee, while watching a movie, you learning. Remember, your mind is learning. And the mind is learning UPSC because you filtered everything through UPSC syllabus now. You're not doing anything without UPSC. You're breathing, eating, sleeping UPSC. How will you do the same? Only if you know the syllabus, right, on your fingertips. Syllabus is the filter through which you filter everything today, from today onwards. So you will know what to filter. Or this portion, now, this today I heard in news, this was from international business. This corroborates to our industrial geography. This is the data where I'll be using in when I talk about industrial location theory. I read it in newspaper today. That's how you'll start looking at the syllabus now. So if you do it, your blank pages will be very good. Doctor's recommendation, blank page practice every night. One page before sleeping, write. It's like the old times people used to write diary entries. It helps you in recollecting. It helps you in retention. That's what I talk skill development, right? Second is on every topic in UPSC, you should have how many points? 5 to 7 points. I'm not asking you to read 5 books. What did I say? On every topic of the syllabus, at least I'm asking you minimum how many points you should know, definitely 5 points. Now, why I'm telling you or restrict yourself to 5 to 7 points on each topic of your syllabus? Because that is what you will be delivering in the examination hall. You have 9 minutes to answer a question in 250 to 300 words. You cannot vouch on more than writing 5 points on topic. 5 to 7 points if you have on each topic. It's good to write for 250 words or 300 words in your answer. That will be easy to elaborate. So if you know that you're targeted, if you know that on every topic of your syllabus you have 5 good points ready on your fingertips, good. But this I not want today. I want it by the end of your preparation, by the end of your syllabus. You should have at least 5 to 7 points ready. 2 minutes noodles on fingertips on each topic. Okay, that's what I recommend. And the last thing I said was a chits method. What do I say? When you're done with this answer writing course, when you're done with the syllabus preparation also before examination, take a dabba, take a bottle or take anything on your, like say, keep it on your table. Tear pieces of paper and write the topics of UPSC exam on the pieces of paper. So you'll have 200 topics roughly. The whole syllabus can be broken into 200 topics, 250 topics. So you played that game where you pick a cheat and start acting, Damshrad. So start the same with yourself. Break the whole syllabus into chits, put it in a dabba, in a box, shake it, sit with a blank sheet of paper, UPSC style booklet, take a piece of paper randomly, look into it and start writing. It's called extempore writing, chits method. This will test your alertness. This is for doing it, self-doing. You understand? But this is at the end when you're done. That now I have given enough. Now let me revise. So during your revisions in later stage, what will you do? Chits method. Okay. This what I have written in the PDF, I'm going to give you in the WhatsApp group, official group anyway, to look into what points I discussed today. This video is anyway going to be there on YouTube for you to see it as many times as possible. After this video, when we do the discussions for say coming week geomorphology video, climatology video, those videos will only be reserved for people who are part of this course. Those videos will not go onto YouTube. Okay, those will be for your usage for official purpose so that you can learn. Remember that what I discussed in that test, you can again revisit. Make sense? So in today's orientation program, whatever I have said, whatever I have told you important points, read it before you actually attempt the test. Okay, so first test for coming week is going to be geomorphology. The test I'll give you by maybe tomorrow evening, afternoon, tomorrow sometime in the group, I'll drop the text. Okay, that which test you're going to give, geomorphology questions. All instructions will be written in the question paper in the form of PDF. Read the question, plan your preparation for 2-3 days, but then attempt it finally as a test. Okay, and when you attempt, behave like you would attempt in examination hall. Focus on how much time sir has given. I'll take a stopwatch. I'll put an alarm for that much minutes. UPSC style booklet. I'll start writing when I start my timer on. So time limits, word limit is the main thing I would like to see. And I am not worried about that you missed a question because you could not complete on time. So sir, you told us 30 minutes. I did the answer in 40 minutes. Not allowed. I am only telling you that if my test is for 30 minutes, drop your pen when it's 30 minutes. I want that honesty in your answers. I want to see that where you are lagging behind, where you are failing, where is the problem lying. Okay. So if you give me the complete answers in every test, it means there is some problem. I want, mistakes. I want to change, check all those things. I want to develop that here. So if you're making mistakes, don't be demoralized. Feel good about it that if I have made a mistake here in front of sir, this mistake will not be repeated in examination, so I am relieved. It should be the other way around. Learning from mistake is what you do for this examination. Don't bother about if some mock test did not go well, because again, if the question comes, you will do well. That's the whole point of making a mistake. Now, the last final philosophical line I would tell you that your mistakes in life always follow you. You never have to recall or retain your mistakes. I remember my class 6th mistakes today also, but I don't know what I did in class 6th while I was a good student. You understand what I mean? Mistakes are best friends and they help you to overcome in times of dire straits. You understand? In examination, you will not make mistake if you make it here in the classroom. So I want you to make mistakes. That's my line for tonight. Okay, so all the best wishes. All of you are most welcome to learn in this answer writing course. Let's have a great time for these 2 months. Okay, a memorable time. I try and add value to your life. I hopefully, as much as you have, vested that thought in my coaching, my coaching methods and my mentoring methods. As you have come all blindfolded, that's why I am coming to you and you tell us. So I hope that I stand on your expectations. I will try my best. Okay, that I can assure you, and I'm available to you till the time you write your exam, not just by the end of the course. People who have registered with me will be with me till you enter examination hall, because in examination hall they won't allow me, right? So I'll be there till then. Okay, so when you come back out of examination hall, you should keep smiling and you should tell me, sir, as much as I have prepared, I did better than what I prepared. Okay, you are not giving this examination for others to get impressed. You're giving this examination for yourself to feel so great when you come out of the examination hall all smiling. This was my best. So if somebody tells me, sir, how many attempts should I do? My only standard answer is, till the time you have that feeling stepping out of the examination hall that this was my best. You keep giving exam till that point. The day you feel that this was my best, this couldn't be bettered, leave the exam. If you're not getting results, don't do this UPSC. That's the last day you do it. But do it till the time you would say this to yourself, that today I give my best. This was my best. I cannot better this. Till the time you do be an aspirant. Okay? That's the only answer I have found in my 19-20 years of learning experience. So I'm just telling you what I have learned. That the day I commit to myself that this is my best, that's it. That's where I stop, because then I have done. This is my best. I cannot do better than this. Right. But till the time you still have that spark left, that is still you can do something better, continue, learn. It's a process, right? It's not the end, right? So I hope that it pays you well in your life. These experiences that I share with you, the learnings that we share together, right? And I'll be talking to you more on your, like, say, somebody's from forest, somebody's from, atomic energy, somebody's engineer, somebody's this, all you are so great from different fields. So I'm so excited to have all of you on my platform. And thank you. So rest of the things I'll be putting on the group itself. All these videos you'll have access to, and get ready tomorrow for the first test on geomorphology. So from tomorrow till Friday, you'll have to give that test in your free time, whenever you're free, and then we'll do the further process. Rest everything we'll give you in the group. And Aditya, be in touch on different, and in maybe next class you can speak to your friends and all when you're free. So today we do not have that interaction, but from next class we'll try and see that all of you can talk freely in this session, discuss with me. Okay, and if you have any query, I said don't put it in the group, let the group be official. You can talk to me directly one-on-one if you have anything to share, anything to discuss. Okay.